surging heavyweight prospect, Chris Daukaus. What's going on, Chris? How's life right now for you?
Life's going good for the most part. Obviously besides the whole COVID-19 thing, everything else is going good in personal life. So,
Martinez BJJ. That's where I want to start first. Is that the place where you got your start as a fighter?
no, the place I actually got my start from was a gym before that. That Will Martinez, my head coach, he was actually training out of. Right out of college, I went there. Was training with him, my brother, and then his brother Jesus Martinez. Some little things happened in the gym. They ended up leaving, going starting their own place, and I've pretty much been with them for the past close to 9 to 10 years now.
In college, were you training at all, or did it just start after you got out of university?
No, yeah, I didn't finish university. I was kind of just biding my time. On my way to college, I would drive past this MMA gym. Finally, I got done with college, and I said, you know what, let me try an MMA gym. Walked in with my sprawl shorts on. The gym owner was like, I guess you're ready to go then. I said, yeah, whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Ready to sprawl, huh?
Ready to sprawl. That's it.
Well, you made the transition over to Martinez BJJ. That's your home now. How has it been over the last 10 years working with them?
It's been a blessing. I mean, they both have fought for the bigger organizations. Will Martinez was in the Bellator tournament, so we were training with him while he was going through that. So it just showed us what a guy from Philly can actually do if he sets out his mind to do something. So he's really like the guiding light for everyone in the gym, and it's worked out great. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better spot.
If you look at your resume, it shows that you do have ridiculously heavy hands. Who do you work with for your striking? Is this still with Bang Muay Thai?
We actually recently got rid of the Bang Muay Thai, but before that we were doing that. The Bang Muay Thai, it was strictly Will Martinez, Jesus Martinez, and my brother. It was just like a little tight knit group. I never really had a boxing coach, never really had a kickboxing coach or anything like that. I mean, Philadelphia is full of boxing gyms. We would go to boxing gyms here and there. That's actually where I first started. Was actually at a boxing gym. Me and my brother started there, but then we decided to jump into martial arts, and then it's pretty much been us four, and that's pretty much it.
Have you ever thought, like, in the beginning, maybe I should box? Maybe I should focus on this? Because there's a lot of guys that kind of go back and
Yeah,
forth with it at the start.
yeah. I mean, I was even boxing. Like we started boxing. I think I was like a freshman in my high school. We started boxing then, but then we kind of fell off. We were doing high school sports that kind of took a seat to the back end. But then even now, people I work with, some of they were professional boxers. They were like, hey, listen, you probably should leave martial arts and go towards the boxing end of things. And I'm just too in love with MMA to be thinking about skipping the boxing. Maybe at a later time, but as of right now, it's strictly MMA.
No, no, bare knuckle boxing in your future.
No, 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 no. I'm too pretty for that, but no,
Yeah,
no, definitely not.
yeah. Some of those fights have been pretty
They've been pretty
out
bad,
of
pretty bad. But hey,
yeah.
they're entertaining to watch. They're making a killing, and people want to watch them. By all means, keep sending them. Keep putting them on. People love them.
You are part of the police force. How has working been due to the pandemic?
Um, it's it's pretty much been the same. I mean, we take extra precautions, and then certain things are in place. So, like, say someone stole your car. When you call 911, you say, "Hey, can I make a police report for my car being stolen?" They would then in turn ask you all the pertinent information for your car, but then they would also ask you if you're showing any kind of signs or symptoms of having COVID-19, and then that would dictate on how I respond. And if I can't handle it, then I would have to call someone in who is specialized in handling it. But as far as day-to-day operations, it's been okay. I mean, we wear PPEs, but it's a part of life now, I guess. So I guess we'll see how it goes.
Any weird calls because of the COVID-19? There must be people calling with some odd
It's
requests.
Yeah, I mean, if you knew where I work, I work in North Philadelphia. It's kind of like right near Temple University Hospital. That place it's a great place to work because you get a wide variety of calls to everything. But no, I mean, everybody's, everyone understands the severity of everything that's going on. So I think people are kind of, being smart. They're not calling 911 for stupid things, like people holding parking spots with cones or anything like that. So it's been really good.
I would figure like people would be calling to snitch on their neighbor. Like my
Well,
neighbor, he
that
was
yeah,
coughing on me.
yeah, yeah. People have, believe it or not, some people have been doing that, but it's few and far between.
Yeah.
But and we'll see how it plays out in the near future. I hear that people are going to be, well, that the mayors and everything are going to be starting up a like a cell phone line. You can take pictures of people gathering, and if you have any tips. So we'll see how that goes.
With the training and the working and all of that, has it been affected? I'm pretty sure the working hasn't been affected, but the training, what are you doing with that?
Working has not really been affected. Training, obviously, everything is shut down. I've seriously I've been running a lot. I have a stationary bike in my house. I've been putting in miles on that. And then every once in a while, my brother will go. He comes over all the time. We're pretty much the only people that we interact with outside of our homes. Do pad work, whatever, roll around a little bit. But it's nothing like the gym. So, you need those hard rounds, those hard wrestling rounds, especially if, with everything going on with the UFC, if you get a short notice call there, because they're going to be putting on a lot of shows, you have to have those rounds in. But right now we're just doing as best as we can. So we'll see what happens.
Running outside, hitting the pavement, has that something you've been doing before, or did you just start doing it now because of the limitations?
I just started for fight camps. I would run, but for fight camps, it was more. So I would do like a sprint timeline. So like 7 weeks out, 8 weeks out, I would start at, a certain sprints that I would do, a couple 400s, maybe a couple 300s, and then taper it down as the fight camp goes on. But now that I don't have anything going on, now I'm putting in miles. So, I'm putting 3 miles here, 5 miles there, whatever I can do, whenever I have time, because, between working and the family time. So it's as best as I can do with what I have.
The road work, I feel like, is the worst part of
Yeah.
any training,
Yeah.
right? It's like you're just
Especially
fighting yourself.
I hate running. I hate running. But, it's something that I'm actually starting to like. So I'm actually excited to see that when I get into a full camp and when everything starts going back, we'll see how that translates to the cage.
Early 2019, you challenged for the heavyweight title for Cage Fury. It came up short, and then you came back
Yep.
5 months later and got a first round finish. When you entered that fight, what was the mentality like for you?
The coming back off of that loss, I mean, it was kind of, I was up in the air. Like I was nervous going in there, but it was something like I knew I had to do. Like if this is what I want to do, I have to get back in there. But I had this odd, weird feeling in the back. It was right before we went out. I was just super calm. I was fully accepting of absolutely everything that's going to happen. I knew I put in the correct amount of work for that camp, for that fight, and I felt free. It's weird to explain. I wasn't anxious. I wasn't nervous about anything. I was accepting of everything, and I couldn't have been happier with how the fight ended.
Oh, definitely, man. Has it been the first time where you felt that way entering a fight?
Yeah, like normally you have jitters. You're questioning yourself. Like, did I do enough? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? But I'm in the back. It's my brother Will Martinez and Steve Haig, their corner man. Everyone's looking around, and I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm collected. I'm precise in everything. I know what I'm going to do, and that was the first time that I've been like that, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, you did perform very well in that fight. But after that fight, while you're still in the cage, I believe CM Punk was. I don't know, something happened, right? Did you know that was going on?
I didn't know it was going on at the time, but then like afterwards, I kind of seen it, what was happening. It was one of the guy's fans was coming up behind him and screaming into the microphone, and there was a whole big thing. Everyone was booing me. I was getting beers thrown at me. Like people were literally stopping me on my way back to get interviewed by Jessica Panay, and they're like yelling at my face, like you suck and other obscenities and like that. So I had to take off running, but it was insane. That whole crowd was very hostile. And that was the whole thing with me bowing. Like, everyone was all upset. I'm not like that at all, but if you're going to like do that, I'll play the part. So that's pretty much what that was about.
Yeah, that was very, very odd,
Yeah.
Unruly crowds, man. It's just part of the
I
sport.
love them. It's part of the sport,
Well, what's the plan for you? Do you want to go and fight again for Cage Fury? Because you did have a fight lined up that was canceled, or is the
Yes.
Contender Series more of what you're looking for in the future?
Right now, I feel like I can compete on the Contender Series. I feel like I can compete in the UFC or ONE or Ryzen or Bellator or any of them. As of right now, I'm competing for CFFC. Whenever they get their shows back up again, I will be the first one calling Rob Haydek, calling Arias, letting them know that I'm ready to go. But if I get another call in the meantime, by all means, I'll take it, especially if it's the UFC or the Contender Series, and they understand that, and we have a very good working relationship. But right now, would it be nice to get that CFFC belt and join my brother as a champion? Absolutely. But if I'm getting a call for the Contender Series, I'm taking it.
So as long as you're moving forward, then that's what it's about.
Pretty much. You can't stay stagnant in this sport if you're beating up the same old guys that everybody's giving you. You have to grow as a martial artist, and the only way to grow is just to keep going forward. So I'm ready to go whenever anyone else is ready and willing to go.
Another guy that was in your position right now, but he was signed recently, was Ike Villanueva, and I see that as a good sign for someone like you, because he's a guy that has never competed for the UFC, and he was talked about going to the Contender Series, and he just got a contract instantly. So do you look at that and say, okay, there's the opportunity there, just the opening needs to be there?
Yeah, it's definitely MMA is becoming more of a game of opportunity. So if there's a short notice call or there's a short notice pullout for an injury or wherever, especially in the UFC, if you're a local guy to the event and you have all your medicals done and you're ready to go, and people know who you are, they will call you. And that's, before people was like, oh, you have to have these amazing records, or, start leaning to, you're not getting a call unless you're in the Contender Series. But now it's starting to lean into the fact where, if they're putting on so many shows now, that if people get hurt, they're looking for short-term replacements. And who doesn't want to step up and fight in the UFC? I'll do it on 2 days notice, 3 days notice, as long as I can get off work. I'm set.
You seen Stipe Miocic? He comes out and he says, "I'm not fighting. I can't even train. And on top of that, I'm a firefighter. I'm a first responder. So, you being a police officer, would you ever consider being a police officer to the side and focus on fighting full time, or is it just something that's part of your life and you'll always be doing it?"
It's a part of my life, but like I told other people, this being a full-time mixed martial artist, a full-time fighter, is what I want to do. I'm a police officer first right now, and that takes precedence. But if the opportunity came and they were like, hey, do you want to be a police officer for the rest of your life, or do you want to be signed by the UFC and you have a contract and you can fight, I will by all means leave the police department and go and focus on fighting, because in the UFC, the level of competition, it's the best in the world, and you have to be that way. You can't be a full-time police officer and then a half-time fighter. It has to be completely all in, and that's the only way to do it.
Can you always go back to being a police officer? Is that a job that you can just stop and then continue later on?
As long as you stay up on all of your your certificates, your certifications, everything like that, there is a timeline to where you can come back. So yeah, if the UFC calls, I take a year or two off. As long as I stay up on my certifications and everything like that, I can go back to being a police officer.
There has been a huge influx of heavyweights recently in the UFC the last year or so, and you've seen guys wash out real quick, and do you look at that and say, okay, if I do get in there and compete, I can't make those mistakes. I can't go in there and do what this fighter did and get cut so fast.
Yeah. That's just a part of the sport, not so much with the heavyweights, but just with all divisions. Like everyone is striving for the UFC. Everyone wants to be there, and they can kind of handpick who they want. And as they should, they're an organization. It's a business. They're allowed to do that. So me as a fighter, I have to sell myself to make sure that they cannot cut me. It would cost them money to cut me as opposed to keeping me. Like, I'm bringing in the company, I'm creating revenue for the company, and that's a good thing. And, that's what you strive to be as a fighter. You have to sell yourself. So hopefully it doesn't end like that for me.
Prize fighter, man. You gotta
That's
do what you gotta do and make yourself valuable. I think it's in any job, right? You gotta make yourself more valuable than the next guy.
Exactly.
All right, Chris, man, appreciate the time. Good luck on the training and the running and all that, and staying ready. And hopefully they do call you, man. I see that the heavyweight division is always in need of another guy to come in and bang and perform.
That's it. I'm ready to go. So, hey, if anyone wants to give me a call, let me know.